but quickened by the Spirit, by which also he went and preached unto the spirits in prison, which were disobedient, when once the longsuffering of Yahweh waited in the days of Noah, while the ark was being prepared, wherein few, that is, 8 souls were saved by water. Now, I don't want to get off topic here, but you got to understand something, that these fallen angels, again, I repeat myself over and over, I want to make myself clear. These fallen angels came down, the Bible records it, had sexual relationship with the daughters of men. Then the daughters of men became pregnant from that catastrophe, and they had offspring. Okay? Well, the offspring died in the flood. Okay? But the spirits of that offspring are still roaming this earth, have been for thousands of years. Okay? But the daddies of that offspring, or the fallen angels of that offspring, he has reserved in the abyss, in chains and outer darkness. Okay. Now, let me tell you something. That lets me know that there are there are evil spirits that can roam around freely on this earth. Okay? In order to harass and torment unsaved individuals. Yes, they can. And they can influence and control unsaved individuals. See, in the beginning, we were created to have dominion and rulership over this earth. Genesis 1 records it. Now, but however, since the fall of man, it set the stage, after Satan did what he did and the angels did what they did, to assume a certain amount of control in the non-believers. Okay? And there's several passages that bring about this fact that I'm telling you. That there are both good and evil angels that have different levels of authority over people on this earth. That is a fact. I know it seems to be a hard thing to swallow, but let's go to Deuteronomy. I'm going to go back to Deuteronomy for a minute. And like I said, this is a teaching, okay? Deuteronomy, and I believe it's 32. Let me go to Deuteronomy 32. Please bear with me. And I got so many things marked here that I've been studying. But Deuteronomy 32 and verse 8. Let's read it and see what it has to say to us, okay? Deuteronomy 32 and verse 8 declares, listen to this. When the Most High divided the nations their inheritance, and when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. For Yahweh's portion is his people, Jacob the lot of his inheritance. Okay? Now listen to me. We know beyond a shadow of a doubt, when Yahweh divided mankind into 70 nations, I believe it was, at the Tower of Babel, he apportioned rulership. Okay? And there are different, how should I say this? There are different holy, righteous angels that he set over each nation. You understand what I'm saying? Now, I can prove it to you. All you got to do is go look at the book of Daniel. Okay, we'll get to that in a little bit maybe. But also at the same time, these principalities and powers and spiritual wickedness, that they rule over nations as well. So in other words, a nation has a choice as to whether they'll get under the rulership of Almighty or whether they'll be under the rulership of Satan. Now, what I'm finding out is based on my studies and based on the characteristics and the performance of nations and people thereof, it seems to me that the words of the Messiah are coming true daily, because nations are wicked and people are wicked, and the influences of people is not the word as it should be, but the influence of the people is demonic activity by these evil spirits that were the offspring of the Beni Elohim and the daughters of men. A little drink of water there. So we see beyond a shadow of a doubt that, I know all of this is in the plan of the Creator, okay? He is not sitting on the throne and wringing his hands and saying, oh, what am I going to do? No, he's sitting on the throne and he's listening to angels cry, holy, holy, holy is Yahweh the Elohim. Now, with that being said, let me say this. He is sitting there waiting and watching to see if you and I will be obedient to him. He is sitting there waiting and watching for every individual across this nation and globe, for that matter, to see what they're going to do. And you say, how do you say that, Billy? Because he never took free will from a person. See, it says we have to submit ourselves, therefore, to Yahweh in order to resist Satan and him to flee. You see, now we go to Psalm. Let's go to Psalm 82. Psalm 82. I got it right here. Psalm 82, and then we'll see. Let's see what this psalmist has to say in Psalm 82 about the situations. Psalm 82. Psalms 82. What about it? What about it? Yahweh standeth in the congregation of the mighty. He judgeth among the gods, small g, that is. Aha. How long? Listen to this. How long will you judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? Aha. So it starts out with Yahweh standing in the congregation of the mighty and judging among the gods. There you go, okay? The Beni Elohim. And then the question comes up to us. How long will we judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? Then the next verse says, defend the poor, the fatherless, do justice to the afflicted and the needy. Deliver the poor and the needy. Rid them out of the hand of the wicked. Verse 5, they know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. Listen to the next verse. I have said you are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. But you shall die like men, and fall like one of the princes. Then he says, arise, O Yahweh, judge the earth, for thou shalt inherit the nations. See, thou shalt inherit the nations. See, the thing about it is, right now, there are small g, fallen gods, or Beni Elohims, that are bringing about the influence of nations to not defend the poor. They're bringing about the influence for nations not to judge righteously, but they're doing it in wickedness. They're not delivering the poor and the needy out of the hand of the wicked, but yet they themselves are the wicked ones because they are influenced by these fallen angels, demons, spirits that were the production and offspring of the Beni Elohim that left their former estate and had sex with the daughters of men. Okay? They are being influenced by those spirits, you see. And one other thing, I'll get to in a minute. Let's think about this. Really, there's going to be a major judgment and chastisement on these evil spirits. That's not come yet. Okay? I mean, there's going to be hell to pay for them. But there's also going to be hell to pay for those who have fallen into the influence of them, or have bowed to them to worship them, or have made their ways of life by the influence of these evil spirits, you see. Now, let me give you some understanding when I told you about the influence of those angels in the book of Daniel. Now, let's turn to the book of Daniel, if I can find it here. I've got so many things marked here. Like I said, this is a teaching session. It ain't preaching, but in the book of Daniel, and some of you are familiar with this passage. Some of you are very familiar with it, but in the book of Daniel, we look and see that in I believe it's 10. Yeah, let me turn to Daniel chapter 10. And you remember that Daniel lifted up his eyes. Yeah, verse 5. It says, then I lifted up mine eyes, and I looked, and behold, certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Ephaz. His body was also like beryl, and his face in appearance of lightning, and his eyes like a lance of fire, and his arms and his feet like the color of polished brass. The noise of his words was like the voice of a multitude. And I, Daniel, alone saw the vision, for the men that were with me saw not the vision, but a great quaking fell upon them, so they fled to hide themselves. Therefore I was left alone and saw the great vision. And there remained no strength in me, for my comeliness was turned in me to corruption, and I retained no strength. Yet I heard the voice of his words. When I heard the voice of his words, excuse me, then I was in a deep sleep on my face, and my face toward the ground. And behold, a hand touched me, and set me upon my knees, and upon the palms of my hands, And he said unto me, O Daniel, a man greatly beloved, understand the words that I speak unto thee, and stand up, write. For unto thee I am now sent. And when he had spoken words to me, I stood trembling. Then said he unto me, Fear not, Daniel, for from the first day thou didst set thine heart to understand, and to chasten thyself before Yahweh, thy words were heard, and I am come before thy words. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia. Now I am come to make thee understand what shall befall the people in the latter days, for yet the vision is for many days. See, you have a prince of the kingdom of Persia. It's talking about a fallen angelic being that was placed over the kingdom of Persia. And there was a spiritual battle that took place for 21 days. So therefore, we can see that the statement I made earlier is absolutely 100% true. That it's an inside glimpse in the spiritual activities that are taking place in the spiritual realm. You see, what we understand is that is not the only place that that activity is taking place. It is actually taking place in every nation. Not only ancient Persia as it did in the days of Daniel, but see, it is taking place in America today. And I want you to understand something, that this prince that is over America is absolutely, look at the attributes of America, and you can tell the amount of wickedness that this prince has influenced upon America. And not only that prince, but see, when you have that prince, that wicked spirit, that principality, it has smaller or lower levels of evil spirits that influence the hearts and the minds of individuals and governments and societies in America, you see. And there is a fight taking place, ladies and gentlemen. And after, you see, after bringing about this message to Daniel, the angel states, now listen, after he makes him understand it, then he says, listen to this. Now I must return. Now I must return. And do what? What? He must return and do battle with the prince of Persia. And then he says he'll have to do battle with the prince of peace after he's finished with the prince of Persia. You got to understand something, ladies and gentlemen. There is stuff going on above your head right now that you cannot see, but I guarantee you can see the results of it. What do you mean, Billy? What I'm telling you is this. In Ephesians chapter 6, let me turn there real quick. In Ephesians chapter 6, he says what? What does he say? And I've quoted this many times, but I want to specifically read it lest I miss one word and I be misunderstood. But Ephesians chapter 6 specifically says in verse 12, Ephesians 6 and verse 12, For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and against powers, against darkness, spiritual what? Darkness of the world, spiritual wickedness in high places. Therefore you must take up the whole armor of Yahweh to be able to stand against them in the evil day, having done all to stand. Now, that being said, you got to understand, rulers, world rulers, it is one holding power over a nation, you see. And Paul clearly states that they can sway the influence of world of not only national policy or global policy. Now, what you must understand that, listen to me. Now let's turn. What you must understand is they themselves, the people of this earth, they have a choice to be influenced by the Holy Spirit and the power of Almighty, or they have a choice to be influenced by what? They have a choice to be influenced by the wickedness, the principalities in high places. The principalities are, well, based on the attributes of the people today, I would say that they're choosing the fallen, wicked, evil spirits over the influence of the Almighty. Wouldn't you say that, based on what's going on? Now in Hebrews chapter 2 and verse 5, it says, For unto the angels hath he not put in subjection the world to come, wherefore